Mark Andrews was ranked as the 18th best wide receiver in the 2014 college football recruiting class, so where the 17 receivers ranked higher than him now. To start just one spot ahead of him at number 17 was Jeffrey Mead, coming out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, who committed to play for the Oklahoma Sooners. And overall, in his 4 years at Oklahoma, he just never really did much, only having 314 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns in his career. Now he is currently the owner of Mead Digital Media. And at number 16 is Ishmael Zamora, coming out of Houston, Texas, who committed to play for the Baylor Bears. And in his time at Baylor, he didn't do very much until the 2016 season when he was great, having over 800 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. Sadly, though, he went undrafted in the NFL, bounced around many different teams, and last playing professional football in 2019. And just cracking into the top 15 is Markel Pack, coming out of Mississippi, who committed to play for the Ole Miss Rebels. And overall, in his 4 seasons at Ole Miss, he just never really did that much, only having 63 catches for 777 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns. Coming in at number 14 is Trey Quinn, coming out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, who committed to play for LSU. And in his first 2 years at LSU, he didn't do very much, so he made a business decision in 2017 and transferred to SMU, where he was great, having over 1,000 receiving yards. After this, he'd be selected in the 7th round of the 2018 NFL Draft by Washington and added 2 solid seasons there, but then began to bounce around the NFL and is currently playing for the Michigan Panthers of the UFL. And at number 13 is Artavis Scott, coming out of Tarpon Springs, Florida, who committed to play for Clemson. He was immediately great at Clemson, having over 900 receiving yards in each of his first 2 seasons. And he would go on to win a national championship with the Tigers and was a first-team All-ACC selection, but would sadly go undrafted in the NFL, never playing a snap in the league, and is currently a graduate assistant for Clemson. And at number 12 is Drake Harris, coming out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, who committed to play for the Michigan Wolverines. And in his 4 years at Michigan, he was a complete bust, so in 2018, he transferred to Western Michigan, where he was solid but never amazing. And now he currently works as a senior accountant manager for Dupree Logistics. And coming in at number 11 is Frank Anicho, coming out of Houston, Texas, who committed to play for Texas A&M. And overall at Texas A&M, he was a complete bust, not having over 100 receiving yards in his career there, so in 2018, he transferred. And he played 1 season at Stephen A. Austin, where he didn't do very much. He's now currently a performance coach and an accountant executive for Allstate. And just cracking the top 10 is Cam Sims, coming out of Louisiana, who committed to play for Alabama. And in his 4 years at Alabama, he didn't do very much there, but did win 2 national championships, but would sadly go undrafted in 2018 and sign with Washington. And he actually got to see playing time in Washington for 4 seasons and last played in the NFL in 2024. And at number 9 is Alan Lazard, coming out of Iowa, who committed to play for Iowa State. And overall, in his 4 seasons with the Cyclones, he was a very good wide receiver for them, as he'd actually be a first-team All-Big 12 selection twice. Sadly, though, he went undrafted in the NFL, signing with the Jaguars, and then the Packers would pick him off waivers. And with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, he became a pretty good wide receiver for them for 5 seasons and is currently playing for the New York Jets. And coming in at number 8 is Justin Brent, coming out of Indianapolis, Indiana, who committed to play for Notre Dame. And overall, in his 3 years at Notre Dame, he was a complete bust, so in 2017, he transferred to Nevada, where he also wasn't very good, is now currently working for RGA. And at number 7 is Johnny Dixon, coming out of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, who committed to play for Ohio State. And it took him until his 3rd season for him to actually see playing time, but in his last 2 years, he was pretty solid, but would sadly go undrafted in 2019 and sign with the Houston Texans. And he last played professional football in 2023 with the USFL. And coming in at number 6 is Josh Malone, coming out of Gatlin, Tennessee, who committed to play for the Volunteers. And in his 3 seasons at Tennessee, he became a pretty solid receiver and would be selected in the 4th round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Bengals. And he actually had to play a little bit with the Bengals, but then he began to bounce around many different teams and last played in the XFL in 2023. And just cracking into the top 5 is KD Cannon, coming out of Mount Pleasant, Texas, who committed to play for Baylor. And he was immediately a dominant receiver for Baylor, having over 3,000 receiving yards and 27 touchdowns in his career, as he'd be a first-team All-Big 12 selection, but would sadly go undrafted in the NFL and never play snap in the league. And now he's currently playing in the XFL for the San Antonio Brahmas. And at number 4 is Erman Lane, coming out of Homestead, Florida, who committed to play for the Florida State Seminoles. And he would be converted to a defensive back and had 3 solid seasons there, but was never amazing, never playing in the league, and is now currently a head coach for the GA Rattlers. And just cracking into the top 3 is Malachi Dupree, coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana, who committed to play for LSU. And in his 3 years with the Tigers, he was solid but never amazing, and would still be selected in the 7th round of the 2017 NFL Draft, but never made an active roster. He bounced around many different teams and last played in the XFL in 2020 with the DC Defenders. And coming in at number 2 is Travis Rudolph, coming out of Florida, who committed to play for Florida State. And in his 3 seasons with the Seminoles, he became a pretty good receiver, but would sadly go undrafted in 2018 and sign with the Giants. After that, though, he was a bust in the league, not really playing much, and last played in the CFL in 2024. And the number 1 college football receiver recruit was Speedy Noyle, coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana, who committed to play for Texas A&M. And in his 3 seasons with the Aggies, he was good but never great and just could not stay out of trouble.